Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, first, Cole. Hey, how you doing? Now hop in, we're gonna play some more Vampire the Masquerade. What did I do? Get my controller out. I'm trying to remember where we left off on this. Because it's been a minute. I believe we're about to go to the event, if I remember correctly. Or we either are about to go or we just went, and I'm trying to remember which one. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. I am doing okay. But no, that's not. We're on the wrong thing. Here we go. I gotta reconnect this. Definitely connected to something else. Come on, connect. There we go. Connected. And then not connected. The old Windows. Are you not connected? It keeps connecting and then dropping the connection. Add to device. Bluetooth. Come on, Windows. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. Well. No, I don't want that. Alright, well, I was planning on playing this game. Let's see what's going on. I need to... Anyways, I may need to... Probably. I believe that's it. Okay, we got it. Finally. There we go. Should not be that hard, but here we are. Okay. So I believe that's where we left off. I believe we're either... I think we're about to go to this event. I think. They pulled up. It goes over. Okay, that's our log. Good there. I guess we just need to rest. I guess that's where we left off. So we'll rest. Sorry, listening to my own audio. Alright, so we leave Dakota's apartment as soon as the sun goes down. Fun, but always feel a little nervous when I spend too much time with her. Lets me escape from center of attention. It's exhausting. Oof. Yeah. And so that is Dakota, our roommate slash lover? Indistinct. Don't know the particulars of that relationship yet. Less time I spend with her, the happier she is to see me. It's a tricky act to balance. Grateful for her presence in my life, but what's on the list of chores tonight? Oh yes, only one thing. Don't show up for the party at the art hole. Don't have anything else to do. Might as well take a trip around the city and see what's up. Well, I'm sure we won't get into any trouble as a, new nightkin, new vampire. I'm sure we'll keep our nose clean, and for those of you who haven't played this game or missed the first stream we did this, we're kind of like a lackey for the sheriff, vampire masquerade term. So basically the person who tries to keep the vampires in order. They're not in charge of the vampires, they're just kind of like a sheriff for a town. They're the sheriff for the vampires. So we're the person who's kind of in charge of tracking the comings and goings of vampires in and out of the city of New York. Mix myself a little drink while I'm at it. Okay. Need to break out of this mood, go somewhere I never visit and see something I tend to avoid. Julia, what is the least you place to go and live a little? A walk in the park. In life I wasn't as fond of parks, but now as one of the kindred I can finally see the appeal. Past midnight they become a surprisingly good hunting ground. So here's a question. So we're in a bit of a foul mood. That is kind of our character though, so I mean, not sure going somewhere that is not our kind of vibe will necessarily do that. But maybe we're just hangry. Maybe we just need a little snack. I'm thinking maybe we go for a walk in the park. We can get a nice little snacky poo. Portland Park. Never knew how much I could miss nature until I got stuck in the urban jungle for good. You know, New York's got a lot of parks. Be easy to get to one. Familiar green surrounding slowly floods my mind with disjointed images back from when I just moved to NYC and was still in awe of it. What do we think? Should we reminisce? I think we're gonna reminisce quietly next to this tipped over garbage bin that has active flies swarming around it. You guys can't see it because my stupid head's in the way, but there's a bin down here. You can see just the edge of it. Sure, let's reminisce. Close my eyes, allowing myself to drown in the stream of memories. An elderly couple holding their frail hands in the warmth of the morning sun, an evening gathering of self-important academics, fervently discussing the discoveries no one but them cares about. Kids chasing imaginary treasure, joyful, restless, oblivious to the dangers of the summer's heat wave. The chiseled jogger, running along the golf course. Golf course? The golf course in the... That can't be right. I don't think there's a golf course in the park. 100% graceful in every move he makes. My eyes snap open and the spinning kaleidoscope of images fades away. I collect my focus and remember what brought me here. The burning heat reaches my fingers. I flick the butt away and immediately take another cigarette out of the pack before proceeding through the parade ground. Faint sound of shoes tapping against the concrete interrupts my contemplative mood. Just what I was hoping for. I hurriedly finish my smoke and take a step back, blending in with the shadow. I'm about to get us a little snack. L'amuse bouche. Lonely jogger runs into and out of the pale lamplight, completely lost in his thoughts, all dressed up in top-shelf sportswear, wiry muscles clearly visible under the skin-tight outfit. His exposed deck. I get the urge back under control for now. Back when I was alive, I'd rely on the breathe in, breathe out exercise. However, nowadays, breathing costs a premium. Just as I regain my composure, the jogger stops by the flickering lantern and takes a glance at his smartphone. His body tenses noticeably as he answers a call. Moving in would, of course, inevitably involve the caller hearing the assault. No reason to make things complicated. Take our time. We got all the time in the world. I don't know if you know this, but we're already dead, so it's not like we're gonna die again. So we're cautious, but yet we're getting closer and closer. Expect the bad news, I know, but Jesus, Tasha, he's 9. He struggles and fails to sound calm. No, she doesn't know yet. I'll tell her when I get home. I need to think this through. I notice a lanyard half stuck into a pocket. with the Bronx Times logo slapped on it. They say there's no cure. Yeah, I heard something about experimental treatments in Rochester, but I can't make the decision on my own. I connect the dots, realize what he's talking about, and feel like I was punched straight in the guts. Oh, okay. So we do have a bit of morality. Interesting. Do we care more about the kid with cancer, or do we care more that this seems to be another person in the news industry? What our character was doing back before, you know, we got vampired. So I need to clear my head, tell Jonah I need a couple of days off. Starts throwing a fit again, tell him he'd better learn to write the fucking column on his own. No, seriously. Thanks, Tasha. Yes, I'll give him a kiss from his auntie. The moment he hangs up, his composure goes out the window. He basically stumbles to the nearest bench. Damn it. Faint sobbing. I lose my appetite. Feeding on this guy would feel nauseating anyway. Just when I convince myself that I should let basic decency take the reins, he notices me creeping around. He gives me a startled glance, eyes damp, looking absolutely miserable. Busted. What do you say to a guy you were just about to assault in a dark park, but thought better of it? Some of these are good. It's gonna be fine. That tells them that we were listening, which is weird. Are you a journalist? That also means we were very close to them. Saw their lanyard. It also maybe puts them in direction as to who we are, so maybe that's a little too close to home. I'm lost. Can you help? I feel like is the smartest answer. I'd go with this one if we weren't worried about, like, hey, that person who's supposed to be dead is like, or disappeared is like around. Because I was also a journalist, so don't really want to make that connection. So I'm thinking, I'm lost. Can you help? I think I'm lost. I've been wandering for like an hour, but I can't find my way back to the golf house. Spoken like a true damsel in distress. The man looks at me with suspicion. His eyes are still watery. You got lost in Van Cortlandt alone in the middle of the night, and sober at that. I mean, a park in the middle of the night, pretty easy to get lost in. You're unfamiliar with the place. Well, some friends you have, you sure they weren't trying to pull a prank on you? Let me bring up a map. Yeah. That's the thing that happens in Vampires the Masquerade is that, specifically depending on which type of vampire you are, tech and vampires don't go particularly well together, but there are specific vampires that they really don't go well together. And I believe, if I remember correctly, yeah, is one of those vampires. But the guy is jogging. He couldn't just, like, tell you which direction to go. That wasn't really expecting him to pull his phone out. Like, you kind of just keep walking in one direction, you'll eventually reach the edge of the park, right? My luck, the jogger wrestles with his phone for a while, oblivious to what or who, to be precise, caused the failure. He gives out a resigned sigh. Whatever, we don't really need it. Follow this path and keep going straight at the edge of the field. There. Turn left the first chance you get, then left again. Past the fountain. Sounds easy enough. Right. Notice a change in his melancholic face. He stands up with his back straight. He has regained some of his lost resolve. Nice. He nods and starts running straight back to his problems. Start walking direction. Even though I might regret this show of abstinence later, what little remains of my humanity inside my shriveled heart encourages me to think that letting this guy go was the right thing to do. Meat's murder, people. Murder. Don't eat people. I'll need to change the scenery to break out of this mood, and opportunity to actually get some juice into my veins. Relatively guilt-free, if possible. I need some bad people to feed on, I guess. Once more to Big Beat Burger. Into the last fast food joint I'll ever know. I'll have the usual. First time I used this line I wasn't sure it would work, but I've gained enough notoriety among the staff that it does. The cashier just smiles, nods, and charges me for 1 black coffee. I can imagine them instructing the newbie. See that emo weirdo? Here's how it is. She always orders a single cup of coffee, nothing else, and she doesn't even drink it. Probably wouldn't take a single sip even if I was still alive. The stuff is just trash. But at least being a buying customer gives me an excuse to sit here for as long as I want to. Guess that's true. You could use one of those self-order kiosks to minimize human contact, but touchscreens don't exactly like me. Not too long ago, I managed to blue screen 10 of them in a row. Oof, rough. Ah, well, the good news is it doesn't look like I have anything to do tonight. Okay. So we went out for a bite, didn't take a bite, went to a burger joint, and this is a fast food restaurant with apparently couches in it. It's weird. And like a ficus or something over there, like indoor tree. Weird spot. Bad news is it's because every kindred who matters is having fun at the art hole right now. I don't want to go. I just want them to invite me so that I could tell them to fuck off. Not very emo. Alright, looking at the interest, I naively hope someone will come and save me from my misery. Really going for damsel in distress. Waiting for a prince or a princess. Knight in shining armor. Fairy godmother. Passing huntsman. Big bad wolf. Mila Jovovich. Vin Diesel. Delia Banks. Really anybody. Yeah, I'll take anyone. Visualizing tapping into the power of my subconscious, materializing my dreams. Surprisingly didn't work. Looks like you're eternally stuck being a nobody in the corner of a shitty restaurant and one of a fast food joint. Let's not put on airs and call it a restaurant. Sweet little Julia. Unlife's a bitch, and then you don't even die. Really kind of nailed that woe is me, goth emo kid, vampire, World of Darkness in general kind of vibe. Misanthropic kind of stuff. Pretend to read a book about psychoanalysis I stole from Dakota for a while. You just had it in your back pocket, I guess. I found it too mentally taxing. I switched to pretending to read a Stephen King book, which I also stole from Dakota. Got the terrifying realization that it was written in the last 15 years and therefore contains no amusing drugged out rants about troubled childhood in Maine. I switched back to looking at the entrance. Ah, yep. One of the newer Stephen King books. That party must be so stuffy and trashy and boring. Looking for amusement. Boring bozos in normcore clothes. A few minutes after I lose all hope, a tall, elegant man marches in with a spring in his step. He looks around, impatient, irritated. Then he notices the person he was looking for and reacts with visible relief. Guessing they're looking for us. He gallantly approaches my table, looks at me and says, "There you are." And that's curious. He shouldn't be here. Vin Diesel? Is that you? I feel like Big Bad Wolf is the right response. What I think, based off of what we know about Julie as a character, I feel like Fairy Godmother feels like what she would say. Will you give me a wonderful dress and drive me to the party? Oh, but it's past midnight already. He's not phased. He just stares at me blankly. Grab your stuff and get in my car now. His tone leaves no room for doubt. Something bad has happened. I want to ask what, but whatever mood he's in, his I will simply ignore all the dumb shit you say mode, I know better than to ask questions. Follow him to the exit, guides me to his car. Hope I haven't messed anything up. Again, I don't think I have, but have I? Here's car. As usual, he gave me the back seat. He's always uneasy when the passenger seat is taken. Doesn't want anyone to limit his peripheral vision, he says. I know, that's weird. This is also like one of the weird parts of like games like this is like, okay, so being too close to a phone or a kiosk would blue screen it, screw it up. But cars have a lot of electronics in them. I mean, that could be a reason not to sit in the front seat, though. Normally, I'd catch him observing me in the rearview mirror, like he's doing right now. This time, he's watching the streets, more tense than usual. Something must have caught him off guard. Silence. He finds the right words and speaks up. 6 weeks ago, the prince told me to parley with the anarchs in the docks, remember? Anarchs? Political outsiders opposing the modern Camarilla-dominated paradigm. They seek to end the tyranny of the elders, but from what I've seen in NYC, they've just replaced one hierarchy with another, more loosely defined. Okay. So, loosely organized sect. Okay. Down at the docks. As it turned out, politics meant showing me something awfully similar to watching my drunken family shout at each other at a wedding party. There's one man who didn't need to shout to make my blood boil. The meanest one, their leader, white hair, monocle, musty clothes. Mr. Peanut? I'd say Mr. Monopoly, but Mr. Monopoly actually doesn't have a monocle, even though we often think he does. Boss Callahan. Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, how could I forget? A lot of panache, old-timey bravado, and gendered insults flung my way. What was his name? Something British made me think of Hollywood. Callahan. Baron Callahan. Douglas Boss Callahan. Yeah, what's Baron? Powerful anarch. Basically a warlord. Basically somebody who's gotten in control over a single building or a city block. In NYC, especially in Douglas Callahan's case, it often seems suspiciously like a form of traditional governance to me. Yeah, and we're going Tammany Hall kind of vibe here. Seems like we're kind of pulling the string on that little historical note, which might have to deal with his last name. '20, but the man's opinions and ideas were stuck in the 1920. But the anarch's supposed to be the progressive option. I never understood why they put up with him. It does have a way of predicting which way the wind will blow, and Tim Kimmery or the SI hits the anarchs. It was the best faction. It was the factions opposed to him that were hurt, the luckiest bastard in the world. Ooh, his luck finally ran out tonight. Huh? He's dead. 99% sure the bastard met his final death. Got trustworthy sources in the Anarch inner circles. Looks like all hell is about to break loose. There's an emergency meeting at the Art Hold, the place where the party is. You guys want to change locations for your meeting? I'm bringing you because you were on the way, because I could, because I should. Interesting. I mean, right, she is a functionary of the sheriff. This is for certain sheriff business. There's a dead vampire. Especially from infighting. But he is also a sheriff for the Camarilla, so... I don't know what exactly they expect him to do. Him, plus our character, Julia, supposed to do about the Anarchs. Not important to the members of the court. You're still an asset to the sect, symbolically at least. I can justify sneaking you into the party claiming it's for your own protection. My sweet fairy godmother in a luxury carriage. Party's still happening? Yeah, I'm guessing we didn't tell anybody about this. We're going to discuss it face to face. Doesn't sound like she was interested. Party is that important. Politics is that important. And once again, politics sound awful like a bunch of party-loving assholes shouting at each other. Can be. Alright. So what are the governing issues we tend to deal with? Shoveling ourselves out of shit. He seems a little embarrassed for cussing, or for being too honest. Either way, it's cute. I'm not a New York City Baron. The Baron of New York City. Once more, a memory of an old douchebag who thought he could rule the world crosses my mind. Well, looks like the world has left him behind. Dead, Jim. And here I am, the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight, the Art Hall. Well, I expected we were going to go to the Art Hall tonight because that's where all the vampires are. I mean, yes, obviously we're playing a game, but I mean, that's where all the vampires are. Judging by the sounds, the inside seems lively. Even if they know it's an emergency, they simply don't care. Still need an invitation? Hey. Title Bernard came up for these yearly gatherings is called Celebrations of Power, an invitation to re-examine the relationship between our undead bodies and the spaces they inhabited. Yoink. Week-long event is packaged as sort of a performance art piece meant to make the kindred who are involved celebrate their potential instead of despairing at their monstrous nature. We need to counter-program the omnipresent images of traffic vampirism with images that remind us we have inherited the earth and we are now free to remake it in our image, is the way our prince puts it. To this end, she organizes a series of exhibits, concerts, fireworks parties, business meetings, etc., etc. Of course, the parties and business meetings are the most important. Prince, here, finally. A saint with angelic wings, a holy patron of New York City. Take a good look around. Half of the figures here are dressed like they're attending a mass ball, the other half are religious figures, either demonic or saintly. I don't fully understand the theme here. I know Pinard was trying psycho magic, a sort of shamanic psychotherapy using the power of art. Okay. Simply put, it's a holy mass and unholy mass in equal measures, a set of rituals meant to make the participants wholeheartedly accept they're both the worst and the best this earth has to offer. Delightful. Gotta put a mask on. Oh. The aesthetic basis for these parties is the black mask in the film Eyes Wide Shut. Some think this decision means Penhard is tone deaf, but it's quite contrary. And constantly trying to be undermined through art and rhetoric that point out the glaring contradictions in her theoretically benevolent rule. Instead of denying and suppressing aesthetics designed to criticize the elite, she embraces them instead of risking a strides. In effect, she effectively defangs the opposition. Don't think of it as a pathology, think of it as the new normal. Collect the key advisors. They've already been told to come here. Not even another room, huh? Okay. Miss Sawinski, I see behind you. Ooh, good evening? Question mark? Why are we putting a question mark on it? I'm afraid so. I don't think we should let Kadir talk because we got busted our chops last time for not talking to people. At the last function when the people were exiting. We do need to be polite. Questioning's weird, but I'm afraid so is weird. As a La Sombra representative, just a political hostage. Look for a safe place for her to spend the night. Time is of the essence, Thomas Arturo. Yeah, stay with Kadir. Everything we say here is going to become an open secret in a matter of minutes. Bernard's already coming up with the correct messaging. I spot an elderly vampire guiding a young, fashionable human girl towards the basement, led like a lamb to the slaughter. Let's not to think too deeply about what's going on underneath this place. She's been a vampire for a little bit now. I mean, this seems pretty part and parcel. Before everyone gets here, I'd like to secure the perimeter. All the appropriate security protocols for you are already active. The Prince have already pulled some strings as well. The situation is mostly under control. Alas, my... I know that as the Prince's sword, you're aching for blood, but you have to accept that, like most weapons known to men, you're most effective hidden in the sheath. What are we trying to say here? More effective as to not knowing where he is? Is that what we're trying to say here? Maybe. Looks like a fascinating philosophical discussion in the making, but sadly I'm forced to interrupt. Mira... As expected for a self-professed protector of the peace. Especially now, seeing as I heard this meeting is meant for those of greater stature than mine. And since we have delicate matter to discuss, one that might require severe judgment down the road. I think you understand why I wish for a child of Hakim to be here, to be involved. Of course. The high region of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, Lady Ashlyn Sturbridge walks up with a group in an outfit that I would never imagined her in, pretending everything is par for the course. That's right. She was the one who did not want to dress up for the party, correct? Prince Panard, the Sheriff, the Harpy, Banu Hakim, Primogen. We're still waiting for someone. It's almost here. I adore your outfit, Samira. I wish the prince allowed the same amount of effort for me. Samira, who is not dressed up. Alright. I particularly love those horns. Both Kadir's and the prince's voices are strained whenever they attempt humor. Their minds are more obviously elsewhere, and it's not a happy place. Arturo, on the other hand, seems calm. She immediately took the horns off. Very funny. We all celebrate our power in different ways, I suppose. Now, what is this about? Just a moment. Over here, Addison. Camaria's infamous spokesman approaches, pushed towards us in a wheelchair by a servant. Helene, everyone, I certainly hope this is something important. With a commanding tone, seeing as Payne can't communicate normally, his servant relays his words to us instead. And he's posh and snobby enough to make me believe I'm listening to his master's voice. Carter won't be joining us. Finding time, searching for lost time, I swear it's all I do nowadays, and there's never enough. I guess you now understand why I insisted this event must last all week. So many esteemed guests, many of them from out of town, each deserving at least a few hours. So it's the big Mucky Muck event, for sure. Get to the chase. Let me begin by stressing these important points. The situation is largely under control. The negotiations are underway and the situation is more tense than dangerous. We are safe. We are safe. And with that out of the way, here's the big news. Baron Callahan, de facto leader of the Anarchs in New York City, met his final death in his office tonight. As you find out, we have a good friend near his office. We've established a negotiation channel with the Anarchs. They gave us all the confirmation we needed. Was our court involved in his destruction? Look at her in disbelief, so does everyone else. Not that that same thought hasn't passed through my head, but to simply exclaim it like that. Spare me the virtue signaling. I don't give a damn if we took care of Callahan or not. I just want to have a clear idea of what I'm dealing with. To my knowledge, none of us present here ordered his destruction, nor did we participate in it. Unless someone wants to confess, it's now or never. I did it. I didn't do it. I didn't even know who that guy was. Of course, nobody speaks up. Arturo pretends to clear his throat. That's our official position as well. Well, good. But that's also true. For all intents and purposes, his Anarch contenders had more interest in removing him than we did. Former enemies will prop him up as a martyr for the cause. Yes, which is why we sadly can't leave the Anarchs to their own devices. As much as we'd like to avoid recognizing their sect in any way, we've offered to assist them in an official investigation. You realize those curs have no respect for our tradition. So this is the traditions. Hey, don't break the masquerade. Don't reveal your nature to the people. Second tradition is domain. Thy domain is thine own concern. All others owe thee respect while in it. Third tradition is progeny. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. Yeah. That's usually where vampires get in trouble. The fourth tradition is accounting. Those thou create are thine own children, so you are accountable for what they do. If I fuck it up real bad, Karen should have some consequences. In theory. Doesn't always go that way. Hospitality, honor one another's domains. Yeah. Don't fucking hunt on other people's turf and that kind of stuff. Enforcement on this one is pretty lax when you're in a city that has 8 million mortals. That makes sense. Sixth tradition concerns destruction. Thou art forbidden to destroy another of thy kind. The right of destruction belongeth only to thine elder. You don't get to kill a vampire unless the prince gives you the go-ahead. As sheriff, Kadir has the implicit go-ahead. So, in general, being the sheriff is being the one person who's got the James Bond 007 license to kill. Kind of has the ability to do whatever they need to do. Address any threats, and therefore. As a veteran politician, you should be deeply familiar with the words controlled opposition. For now, it's impossible to fully contain the anarch threat in New York. Prop up a candidate who will offer the least resistance to our future plans for the city. Alright, so we're going to try to find a candidate among the anarchs to back. Keep that pot from boiling over, essentially. Send our hand to the most promising contender, give him a way to present himself as a diplomat. Man of reason will compromise, the rebel falls in line, the purists grow angry and alienated. Party contacted the best possible person in their sect, oversee the investigation, in his best interest to show he's able to resolve the situation calmly. So nobody's paying attention to Julia. I don't know why they would be. She's really just kind of around. We knew coming in that she wasn't going to be a strong part of this conversation. Kind of a fly on the wall, so she knows what's going on. But we do know that she's probably going to be pulled in as probably some sort of a liaison for going on with that, especially being tied in with the sheriff. And being an out-of-towner means that there's nothing she can do that'll improve somebody's particular power domain within New York City because he ain't from here. She's from Chicago. Keep in mind, Mr. Payne, our man's people will still barely tolerate us and the situation is volatile. They may still try to escalate the conflict. I will do my best to solve this situation as fast as possible. Questioning his methods, Pierre is momentarily taken aback. Volunteer to coordinate the case with the Anarchs, of course. I refuse. You have more important duties to focus on. Once more, Kadir is stunned. All due respect, Prince, but if you don't consider me capable of tackling this issue and attending to my usual duties at the same time, I think you gravely underestimate me. Penchant for working yourself to the bone is well known and appreciated, but so is your perfectionism. We grant your wish and let you investigate while still fulfilling your routine obligations. Can you guarantee you're going to give both these tasks your best? Ooh. And the volley goes back across the net. I guarantee something very close to my best. Well, my second best for sure. Close to your best doesn't cut it. I don't know, being known for his dedication to his job and for his perfectionism, close to perfect's pretty good. Probably better than most other people's good. And your best doesn't cut it when the vultures are out in force. Obvious outlet for their pent-up rage. Celebrations will continue as planned, which means that that's probably where Kadir's going to be spending most of his attention, is to ensure that nothing happens to the Camarille's court during these celebrations and the out-of-towners and those essential diplomats. Rely on your constant protection. Timing of the Baron's destruction is impeccable. The Anarch leaders are sure to point at us and claim we're shamelessly celebrating his end. Does anybody believe it's just a coincidence? No, probably not. Ashlyn's pretty smart cookie. Probably not. I'm still, personally, as the player, I'm like, well, obviously that dude faked his death. We just talked about like how wily he has been politically. We really don't have any confirmation that the dude's dead. So it seems more likely that he has faked his death or made it appear as though he was dead to do something very specific, or for people to not be thinking about him, or to potentially to have tied up here. Maybe if they wanted to get the sheriff out of the way, which would signal maybe an attack during these celebrations. Think of that scene. Not knowing that that's probably going to go sideways, which means we're probably going to have to go in Kadir's spot, even though, you know, thus far we're not sure how good of a detective, I guess you'd say we are. I mean, we were an investigative journalist, hard-hitting journalist. So I guess it makes sense that they would choose us. We have the kind of skills to do that, but not so much the enforcement part. Murders are messy. It's impossible to reliably predict the outcome of any violent action. I mean, the dude got killed in his office. If there's one place where he should probably be safe as the Baron, New York City, you would think it would be his office, the center of his own power. Be wise to brace for a lot of unfortunate coincidence. Yeah. Rebel can't get the impression their power struggles are of great concern to us. Yeah, play cool. They also shouldn't think we have something to hide. Brings me to my point. We need a symbolic gesture, one displaying expertly measured intensity. My best bet is a humble diplomatic envoy, a low-level official acting as investigator of sorts. In this circle of people, if we sit around and went eeny, meeny, miny, mo, who do you think's gonna get their toe caught by the tiger? I assume it will be us. I implore you. Wonder about your suggestion for this role. After all, it's not particularly prestigious. It carries a lot of responsibility. We're still talking about a Camarilla representative. I think there's a very obvious candidate. Alright, this seems like this is a big setup. It seems like a very specific setup. What if Kadir had not brought Julia? Was there ever a future in which Kadir didn't bring Julia to this? To this party? To be a part of this conversation? I think that's unlikely. We already know that she was chosen to be inducted as a Child of the Night for a very specific reason. So it does seem like somebody had plans. They hired somebody specifically they turned somebody who was specifically an investigative journalist, who was a good investigative journalist, into a vampire. So when they plan to do it, it's probably got to be because of your skill set. which means that you are a tool. Yeah, everybody looks at Julia. Miss Julia Sawinski. Right. I understand you used to be an investigative journalist before your embrace. Oh, funny that, huh? How auspicious. That was a long time ago, and not in vampire years. So this does seem, and what about it? I mean, she's not dumb. She knows what this is about. We could say that's correct, but that's a little bit more respectful than she usually is. I can say that was a long time ago. And I think that's what I'm going to go with, even though it really hasn't been that long. Among others, the Banu Hakim Primogen insisted that you are worthy of greater privileges and should be given a chance to prove yourself. Lemira measures Arturo with suspicion. Yes. Please, please, please don't fuck this up, you dumbass little white girl. Of course. Good. You have no problem with your protege embarking on this mission, save for the pain a mother feels when watching her child possessed. Okay. It absolutely is important. Nard's backing of Arturo momentarily blindsides him. If Arturo's plan is reckless, I want you to tell me. I need a simple yes or no answer. Is the girl capable? I wouldn't entrust her with all the responsibilities that I have if she wasn't, which is not honestly a lot of responsibility. Basically does like entrance exit interviews for the city. She's kind of like when you step off the plane in a foreign country and you have to you have to go through the kiosk and get asked the questions and they look at your passport. That's essentially what she is. As if he's trying to apologize to me with that. Here we are then, a recommendation from the Banu Hakim Primogen and the sheriff. Banu. Tell you the truth, I was just throwing out ideas. Can't doubt the Night Clan's representative will get the job done. I'm certain each of us feels the same, Mr. Payne. A shrug here, an averted gaze there. Well, people are all in, huh? Ooh, I could be really sassy and go, I have conditions. I don't think that will go over well. Julie is a little bit of a brat, but I don't think she's... I don't think she's that unknowing of her role here. I don't think she can say I have conditions. Nobody asked what I think. Nobody asked anything about her during this conversation. So I think it's just tell me what to do. No point in pretending I have a choice here, is there? Not really. Good evening. Catherine, what a pleasant surprise. Nobody informed us you were in town. Addison, looking healthier than ever. And what does Weiss have to do with it? Being an impartial observer who everyone respects, and as it happens, Catherine always knew how to make friends on both sides without angering either. I beg to differ. I'd be grateful if just for once you decided against throwing a tantrum about me, High Regent. Ooh, let's see. Painful grimace crosses Ashling's face, but she quick to interpret the taunt as an invitation to a game she can't possibly win. As long as she can prove herself useful to the proceedings in some way. Half of what I heard about her from Mr. Vandervaden is true. She should be able to. What did poor Carter say about me this time? Nothing specific. One always has to read between the lines with him. But it was mostly envy. Weiss, right? Weiss. Miss Weiss gracefully agreed to mediate between the Anarch representative and the La Sombra representative, ensuring mutual cooperation and mitigating potential conflicts. Felt like a Freudian slip. La Sombra representative, not Camarilla. Someone who can be catapulted from the sect without much damage to the ivory tower if they mess up. In less than an hour. Your meeting's in less than an hour. Ah, God damn it. No, you can't go, Katir. Get your orders, Sheriff. Attend to those. You fool! The girl needs guidance. Yeah. He lowers his gaze but seems reassured. Okay. So he's kind of giving the thumbs up for Catherine. Okay. Which is good because we kind of rely on the one vampire who's supposed to watch out for us. Reading is an old person's game. That's an interesting phrase for a vampire. And I still feel young. So we leave in a rush. Funny considering what she told me about being in a rush yesterday. We're here. Quiet neighborhood somewhere in Queens. This neighborhood is spelled with U. I think we said this last time we played. It's clearly got a British writing, which is funny. You got that U in neighborhood. Seemed like you were in a rush. Couldn't stand the crowd. She's honest, probably performatively so, just to get into my good graces. Well, it's working. Gatherings like those always enable a boring pack mentality. All the familiar lies we tell ourselves to justify lusting for more repeated ad nauseum. We're outside the meeting and we just drove here. So we've got maybe 15 minutes. And I don't think it's time to be getting into what lies are you telling yourself. Also, we don't really have the status to probably ask a question like that. She'll answer. Yesterday you said is the opposite side of that is being so naive. I think we got to go with I need guidance. We need very practical information for what we're about to do. That seems right to me. A few necessary arrangements to make over the phone before we got here to ensure your pretty little head stays attached to your neck. For now, anyways. Oh, well, thank you, Catherine. That was very sweet of you. You used to make your living as an investigative journalist. Investigate the murder. Okie doke. In TV shows where an investigative journalist gets too close to the heart of a politically incendiary case, it rarely goes well. That is true. As I feel like it usually does in real life. Cat's head on their porch, a bullet to the head. So are you afraid you might be a pawn in a game you don't understand, that your elders consider you a disposable asset? Obviously. They've obviously brought me into the fold for a very specific reason. A single wrong move might cost you everything you hold dear. Does seem like maybe a plan to deal with the Anarchs. That's maybe why Julie was embraced. Sounds about right. Don't belittle me, I need your advice. Be anything you want, but don't be boring, Julia. If I wanted to belittle you, I would have drowned you in the platitudes long ago. Alright. Catherine, you're being frustrating. Please help. Know thyself, believe in your strength, trust no one, act confident, turn the chessboard around, and read your opponent's mind. Read Sun Tzu and quote him incessantly. Say, do you feel any better now? You know who killed Baron Callahan? I haven't the slightest idea. Were you emotionally impacted by his death? Not at all. You know him. Only passingly, so we're immediately starting our investigation with Catherine. Only passingly, I'm afraid. I expected him to perish sooner than later, so I've never bothered to improve our relationship. Okay, so he has enemies. I mean, we kind of know that, but that gives me an idea that maybe you knew something specific? Not want a painfully honest answer, but I do. When I look at you, I see someone pitiful, someone whose hunger is purely biological. Just an animal rush. The hunger of the vampire's urge to feed, it overpowers all other needs. And trying to ignore it is said to be the easiest way to prime the beast, the dark, always blood-hungry passenger that accompanies every vampire's own life for a hostile takeover. Yeah. Things go bad if you don't feed vampire. That's how it goes in the Vampire the Masquerade, like TTRPG. Well, like you do not feeding, you kind of start to lose your mind. It's not good. When I saw a burgeoning plan to put you in a situation that is way beyond your capabilities, I offered my help. I was curious to see your true colors reveal themselves firsthand. When everything is said and done and Callahan's killer is pointed out, will you be a whimpering animal or a victor taking the spoils? I cannot wait to find out. Victor taking the spoils. What does that mean in this context? We have time for one more. Who is Mia? Mia's gonna show up. We're gonna find out who Mia is. Again. What makes you important is kind of a good question. Like, why do people care? Why is Catherine able to stand up against Aisling? Why do you hide your face? Is a very... I don't know if it's like a Samira situation where she's got some kind of scar or something. Very personal. Mia's gonna show up eventually, so I think what makes you important. I had the very best occupation in the world, and I made sure nobody is better at it than I am. Socialite. Ah, right. I guess that makes sense. Right, she has the gift of gab. She's kind of friends with everybody. It gives her a lot of access to a lot of different places. And nobody's as good at it as she is. So she can speak with the Anarchs. Never met her. Describe her by her aura alone. I guess the words would be permanently angry. Even more so than your average anarch, or our own character. Catherine Weiss. You must be Mia Morgan. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Pleasure's mutual. This your girl? Julia Sowinski, the La Sombra Primogen. The La Sombra representative. I correct her automatically. At this point, it's a habit. Good. If you were a Primogen, I might have tried to kill you here and now. Well, that probably wouldn't go well either. His torque is still on site. And I told him I'd take it from here. He needs to look like a natural candidate for the leader of the NYC Anarchs. Gonna take a lot of driving around in negotiations. How did he react to finding Callahan's remains? So Torque was the person who found Callahan dead. Okay, so messy feelings. He was the first one who's seen the murder site. Oh, so you're already calling it a murder site. Does the Ivory Tower know something we don't? Not the official position, but I expect a lot of them think it's Torque who stood to benefit the most from Boss's death. And it sounds like he's quick to jump on new opportunities. You don't know him? I do not, but I'd love to meet him. Ask him some questions, especially if he was the one who found the body. Well, if you're meeting Torque at all, it won't be tonight. He's too busy. I've been assigned to investigate. I won't be able to do that if I'm not able to question a key witness. I'll arrange for him to see you this week. Okie doke. This week. Aren't the tensions a little too high for delaying an investigation like this? Then, hey. Julia, there's probably plenty of people we can talk to. We probably don't need a person immediately. Social work is our best shot at making sure they won't get higher, so boo fucking who. I'm his right-hand woman, though. You got any questions, direct them to me. Maybe the two of you should head to Callahan's office. The discussion here does not seem to be going in the right direction. Not in a particularly interesting one. You're not coming? Torque and you are not the only ones who have their work cut out for them tonight. I trust you can take it from here. And Mia, be easy on her. In slightly different circumstances, I expect the two of you would have ended up on the same side of the barricades. Uh-huh. Take care. Alright, this is the place. 19th century style office, classical, wooden, smelly, stuffy air of books, old furniture, and dust covers much of the fragrance of decay. But not all of it. We're really just gonna zoom around on this until we go further. First time she's seen the remains of a vampire who's met their final death. Crumbling to dust, but that's an exaggeration. At least it didn't happen here. When kindred die, time catches up with them. If you offed me right now, I'd probably turn into an ugly, leaky corpse, but Callahan was well over a century old. It's like looking at a dapper mummy. Desiccated body in a heap of musty clothes. All that is left of the mighty Bross Douglas Callahan, Anarch Baron of New York City. If that's really him. That's true, we don't actually know that that's him. Needless to say, it might be a little hard to establish the time of death or the cause, especially as his garb doesn't have any obvious damage. What a great place to start. Have you found anything suspicious yet? You don't see in front of you. Single point of entry. Except for the windows, but only Callahan knew how to operate those, and they don't let air or light through. What kind of windows are they then? The only modern element of the room sticking out like a sore thumb. Right, interesting. Look automated. Was the door open when Torque got here? Well, that's the one suspicious thing. It wasn't if Callahan locked himself in from the inside. Closed room murder, huh? Keep saying murder. We don't technically know it's a murder yet. Some glass scattered on the floor. I point at it. Could that be from the window? I checked it from the outside. It's in perfect condition. What's the glass? No idea. They're big shards of glass. Mirror. Glass over maybe a painting or something? It's also not close to the windows. But it doesn't look like it was like a decanter or something like that either. This table seems like maybe it has a glass top though. Why does it seem like she has her suspicions but is remaining uncooperative just because... Yeah. Next point of interest, a wall safe surprisingly large. What's the combination? It's Callahan's. What makes you think I know? A desk with nothing but an envelope on it and nothing inside. Check all the drawers. Every single one has been thoroughly emptied. I don't know what I expected. Is this how the anarchs go around securing crime scenes? Yeah, so... Feels like this place has probably been tampered with. That's not in the least. It also means, like, it's kind of hard to determine maybe what happened. They emptied before Torque arrived? I don't know, but I wouldn't accuse him of tampering with evidence if I were you. The decor of the room is pretty minimal. Not really. Not particularly. You have little pieces, you have art, you have all these wood, you have this fancy ceiling. There's actually quite a bit in this room. As well as looks like maybe that's a fireplace under the portrait in the back. It also looks like there's certainly a fireplace over here on the right. Maybe that's not a fireplace guard. Maybe that's just like a side table or something. Can't tell. Start getting nervous. I point at the painting on the wall. Callahan's ancestor, I guess. I'm out of ideas. Everything I look at feels like another dead end. I'm frustrated. I feel as if I failed in this investigation before it has even started. There must be something more. I mean, you've only been here like 15 minutes, lady. Like, relax. Look, you've got broken glass. That's a pretty good start. And it's not next to the body. Start walking around trying to find a clue. A shadow blinks in and out of existence near Callahan's remains. I freeze in place. What do we think? ... Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid? Oh, hey. Can't stick around. Oh, nice. You're watching the solo RPG adventure. Nice. Great. I hope you're enjoying that. I hope that's going well for you. That's a good one. Alright. I think I'm going to go with don't. Right. I think are you trying to help me? That makes it seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. So, and we got a Mia. So we don't necessarily want to be like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Go with don't be afraid. Yeah, okay, so she's not paying attention. You searched the bastard like 3 times. He had nothing of interest on him. So you guys have touched all the stuff, tampered with all the evidence. Great. Fantastic. Before I got here. And then wouldn't tell me about that you did anything. Cool, 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 cool. Great. You guys have set me up to fail for sure. But they missed a card. Moved into an almost invisible hole in the fabric. Interesting. Take it down and show it to Mia. I planted it there? Yeah, lady. I planted it here. List of 4 names. Angelo, Hope, Agathon, Ika. Lying that she doesn't know who it is. I don't care. Tomorrow night I will meet up with Kadir and ask him to help me figure it out. Don't let the door hit you. Yes, thanks for that hospitality. When do I get to meet Torque? That's a big if. Just to meet you. You said that we were for sure going to meet him. Meet you on a one-on-one basis. Catherine will let you know. You probably won't let a loyal Camarilla lapdog like you see him without her oversight anyways. Maybe I benefit if I put my loyalty to the court in question. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work out in your favor. Well, we did correct her and say like a La Sombra representative, right? Not Primogen. Problem is that we work for the sheriff. So our loyalty is not necessarily absolute, but we're also very newly turned. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know what to go with. But obviously she's going to have some follow-up quip, and I don't know. We're going to be armed to deal with that. Again, with that perpetually angry being her sort of like aura, I don't think she seems like she's probably got to stiff up her lip about most things, so I don't think that she will be particularly helpful for us. I'm thinking, nah, not worth it. Alright, we got an updated trait. You can tell us for that? No. Okay. Well, have a good night. Evening late or early, depending on how you look at it. Once I leave Callahan's office, I head straight to Dakota's apartment. Being up for you. Night. Shit. Tomorrow. What happened? You look like something the cat dragged in. Tomorrow, I promise. But I'm worried. Don't be. Tomorrow. A pitch black room and throw myself on the bed. Responsibilities, the stakes, the way I always feel too slow to react properly in these situations. I want to think, I want to turn off my brain, I want to drift into the void, into the void, into the void, into the void. Can I guess I can't do the guy down south there. So I guess there's nothing else except to hit rest. Shall rest. You've received your first trait. Hoorah! Other choices in the game will push Julia towards different ways of thinking, which will have a lasting effect on her throughout the story. Okay. See a brief pop-up on the top of the screen anytime you receive a new trait. You any unlocked traits in the log screen. Loyal to the end. Remember that ruthlessness is the mark of a true La Sombra, but you might walk another path before reaching that destination. Right. So we just have the word of the trait. It doesn't tell us anything specific about that trait, I guess. Always told you you'd make it big. They're just using me as a pawn in some fourth dimensional chess game. Supposed to just keeping you off the chessboard. Don't be a glass half empty buzzkill. And make me a scapegoat or something. Possible. Highly possible. You write a book about living with the 21st century Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, don't even joke like that. I haven't killed anyone. Julia, honey, neither did Oswald. Yeah, right. I keep forgetting. Doing your makeup. Dakota doesn't seem to mind. I'm her goth dress-up doll. Her presence in my unlife is one of the few good things that my sire provided for me before fucking off to New York, to Chicago. Normally I'd be told to find myself a ghoul, but many of our clan, myself included, find the idea of ghoul distasteful. Ghouls are people you kind of make human servants. You give immortal your vampire blood without draining theirs first, an underling, a toady, a thrall. My clan don't really like to use them. Karen thought the very concept was beneath her and refused to explain it. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, the ghouls are... they come up... I feel like they come up pretty often when you play the TTRPG because it's nice to have, like, humans, which means that you can have, like... for good and for bad, you can have people who do stuff during the day. Why they're incredibly useful. It gives you an extra, you know, like 12 to 18 hours in which other stuff's going on. Love the stream. Always making fun to watch. Trying to be a regular fan. Like with me on Discord. Oh, well, thanks for watching, Levi. Thanks. I'd love to find myself a ghoul. We're cat people, not dog people. We don't want mindlessly faithful servants. Okay. We want companions who rely on us despite having, in theory anyway, the free will not to. Though, it does come pretty close to breaking the Masquerade, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. Any relationship I have with Dakota would normally be a breach of the Masquerade's rules, like I just said. But the rules are different for kindred who are Camarilla adjacent, even losers like me. Yeah. Simplifying here, but Sire made it clear that her child would not own slaves, and that was the end of the discussion. Forget what that the child with the different spelling. To be honest, I think the court mostly agreed to that request because they wanted one more thing to blackmail me with, just in case. What would you do in my place? Well, I guess we'll find out, Julia, because I'm playing you in a video game. So I guess we don't really have to ask that question. If I had to investigate your elite's wrongdoings, I'd probably look for those rich fucks' pedophile rings, look for the assholes who mention pizza suspiciously often, see who has powerful friends in Manhattan jails, stuff like that. No, I'm serious. Search for the deep rot and a lot of smaller crimes will get solved in the process. What is it with you and conspiracy theories? What do you mean? You just told me your bosses are having an eyes wide shut parties, and suddenly you don't believe in rich people's pedophile rings. Oh, wow. Surprisingly topical. At the time. Oy vey. I don't know if I want to know. My point is, you act as if all the conspiracy theories are real. Like, you can't possibly believe all that shit. Half of it doesn't even make sense. Yeah, some of it really doesn't. Some of it is wishy-washy enough or vague enough as to, like, maybe, if everything lined up correctly. What, the interesting answer or the real answer? The real answer should be the interesting answer. Everyone's lost nowadays. Look at the world. It's drowning in facts that fail to cohere into a single convincing narrative or story that resonates. Corporate media wants you to believe in empirical thinking, but it always fails to deliver moral or metaphysical truths, and the people desperately lack those. What do? They turn to conspiracists. Well, I don't know if that's true. And suddenly they are able to navigate the world. And why is that? Because conspiracy theories give them emotional truths that serve as a compass. I am not sure I buy that, Dakota. Is Bill Gates trying to insert satanic microchips into my body? Probably not. I hope not. I don't think it's Bill Gates if it's anybody. Now, is he a terrible person? No idea, but there's ample evidence that it might be the case. And personal failings aside, it's his ruthless business strategies, the company he used to keep, the philosophies he follows. People look at him and feel he's fishy, so when the media present him as a genius or a savior, and I post that he wants to put the mark of the beast in my body, they choose to believe me. Because it makes moral, emotional, and metaphysical sense to them, and ultimately that's what matters most. The end. Oh. I think our sire has left us with a crazy person. I think is what happened. I don't know. Julia's, for the most part, seems to have her head put on pretty straight. Does she get it? I think so. I think she probably understands what the point she's trying to make. I don't think she buys it either. I think she gets it, though. I'm gonna go with Nan. I'll buy it. But since it's you saying it, I'll just say it's cute. Good enough for me. Okay. Well, that seems like a rocky patch for whatever this relationship is, which does seem to have some weird power dynamic stuff going on. Came up with this monologue yourself? Oh no, I read it on Facebook. Ah, figures. 2020, Facebook, still? But just to make sure vaccines are okay. Ooh, also very topical for the year of 2020, in which this would have been released. Of course, I know they don't cause autism. Good to hear. No, Tylenol causes autism. We all know that, obviously. Yeah, considering how many times I've done makeup on a dead body, I probably have enough job experience to be a mortician by now. Sounds like an exciting career, but in reality, it's probably the most boring thing under the sun. Yeah, I like my corpses talkative, pouty, and self-loathing. Go get him, Tiger. Yeah, we get a Spider-Man pull. Nice. New York City. First thing I need to do, meet up with Kadir tonight and report to him. I hope he knows how to guide me out of this mess. He should have time for me in an hour or two. Meantime, I suppose it's time to find someone. What's the most dehumanizing word I could use here? Nourishment. I'd have to quench my hunger less often if I didn't smoke. It kills you, I said. Start killing itself. Your organism must pretend it's alive, and that uses up its precious vitae. That's our life. Yeah. Ancient term for blood. In pompous Camarilla speeches. Alright. Yeah. The essence of our life. The vitae. But I love cigarettes, even though they don't do the thing that they used to do for me when I was alive. Alright, NYC, got my steps. Show me which one of your children I should drink up tonight. Eva's Delight, a fitting name for a kiss addict. Gracious enough to openly pitch her unique taste to those in the know. Not in a clubbing mood, but since I need to, I might as well give it a shot. Samira is asking me to meet her. If not for the ongoing celebrations, the patrician would prove an odd choice for a secret rendezvous. Here's hoping she can provide some useful insight into the case. So we could meet with Samira, which does seem like useful. And at least thus far, we're not having any positive or negative effects as far as hunger is concerned, like you would in the TTRPG. We don't have a meter or anything that kind of tells us. We don't have to use any like potency points for like doing anything. Not that we have any powers, of which that we do. The note left at my old dead drop point reads, "Bunny as a reporter. Could it be Woods? Long time no see. What does one do when the ghost of Christmas past knocks on her door?" Getting involved with your old life is not smart, usually when you're a vampire. Even though having a human that nobody knows about maybe investigating this murder or investigating the anarchs would be super useful. But this will probably get Woods killed as a human. So, and they'll definitely make him squeal before they kill him, and he will point right at us. It would be like we're not doing our investigation in good faith. Not that that's, I mean, they're obviously not doing their investigation in good faith, but we really want to get down to the nitty gritty. The Sombra were supposed to be ruthless. That's pretty ruthless. Mira's asking me to meet her, if not for the ongoing celebrations, but for a secret rendezvous. I don't know how many. Here's the problem: is that we never have an idea of if we'll get to do all of these. So I'm thinking maybe we do Bunny as a reporter first. Sweeping through the Evergreen Cemetery in the search of Nigel Woods was the last thing I expected to be doing tonight. Yeah, well. But here I am. The past refuses to let me out of its grip even for a few days. Black limo almost ran me over on the way here. I just can't get a break, can I? Feel like, is that foreshadowing something? Or somebody tried to hit me. It takes me less than a minute to find Nigel. He's standing next to the gravestone of John Bunny, one of the most famous actors of the 1910s. Why there exactly? Well, the man is paranoid. Which is why we were forced to come up with such an unpredictable method of choosing rendezvous points. It'd be ambiguous enough to seem incidental to a casual onlooker, but reasonably uncomplicated so that this dumbass could mess it up. Alright? Silent film actors. Leave me a note with an obscure movie title, and I only had to look up who starred in it, maybe. So this is something that, I don't know, maybe people know about, maybe people don't know about it. So, certainly in the silent movie era, there was a lot of movie filming that happened on the East Coast around New York, and primarily New York, because of Edison's had a film company, a movie company, and it was in New York. And that before, at least in the US, most movie stuff kind of shifted and ended up in Hollywood, over in Los Angeles. But before that, there were actually quite a few places on the East Coast, specifically. Kind of going from Massachusetts all the way down to Carolinas, I think. And now today, there's actually quite a bit of filming that happens in Georgia, in Atlanta specifically. All right, weird tidbit, I guess. But it explains like why there would be so many silent actor graves that you could presumably do this in New York City. Been fun. Ridiculing Woods for his paranoia would be a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. Rapidly swiping left with noticeably increasing frustration. Too many girls who actually know what they want from life in a row. Nigel. Ugh. What are you up to, Sawinski? Too busy for your old pal? You never write, you never call? Not gonna lie, it's good to see you. Looking good, gal. I mean, you're still all doom and gloom, but even paler than usual, but I always had a soft spot for your bony ass. Come here and give your uncle a hug. Warn him, slap me. We're gonna give him the look. I just find it's still an instinctual thing. Right, I get it. I think we used to get to the Chase Woods. Wasn't a social invitation. And I have only so much patience for your innuendos. What do you want? Very well. I've been trying to put together a piece on some particularly unseemly businesses in the deep web. One of my plugs pointed me in the direction of Double Spiral, saying that. I'm even surprised that name keeps coming up again and again. Kind of haunts me, of course. I made sure it would. I still keep tabs on Montgomery from time to time, constantly reliving those 16 months I slaved away for nothing. Might have just been another part of Karen's hazing ritual, but I have a feeling that even if I wasn't the case, Brian would still be told to kill the story. Dig up some dirt on this internet who goes by the name of Hope. I do believe that is one of our 4 names. Supposedly has had some close deals with this Montgomery clan. Ever heard of her? Not an expert on the concept, can't say I'm familiar with the person in question either. I'm lying, of course, feigning apathy. Strikes a chord, being one of the 4 names dropped down on Callahan's list. Coincidence? Kadir insists I shouldn't believe in these. Mostly involved in some kinky porno stuff. Scopophilia. Body maiming. Lots of blood. She's in borderline occult. My cover's blown, though. I think someone's after me. Got a few useful leads, which I'll happily exchange for some Benjamins before I go AWOL. Interested? Knowing him, those few leads are completely worthless. But with his luck, he really might have strayed into dangerous waters. What's useless to him might prove useful to me. If I play along, he won't even know I'm no longer in his line of work. You expect me to buy your intel sight unseen? Yeah, see, we're smart. No dice, Nigel. Break it down for me. I won't screw you over. You know me better than that. He sighs audibly, sizing me up and down. After a brief moment, he raises his voice again. What do you want to know? I don't want to lead with hope, because I feel like if we lead with hope, he'll raise up the price. Let's go with how did you get the information? Weird side job, hush hush. Shady guy going with the online handle leaky gut syndrome. Also asked to offer up a bag of blood as part of the deal, specific blood type 2. He found that weird, started digging, and finally came across the name Hope. Upon digging some more, he started feeling somebody breathing down his neck, and that's how he got here. Okay, so definitely sounds like a vampire. What about that Hope girl? How do you know it's a girl? Maybe she's an enigma, a total fucking mystery. The only thing I'm certain of is she exists and enjoys streaming for an exclusive audience. Into cryptocurrencies, you know, those Bitcoin things. It's a scramble, I know, but I promise you somewhere within lies a juicy story for someone like you to pursue. I have a hunch if we join forces, we might really hit it big this time. Thoughts? Yeah, nobody's gonna buy this. He persists in spreading this bullshit. It will probably completely neuter his ability to harm us eventually. If the ivory tower gets wind of his activities, Kadir is going to get involved, he's going to ask questions, and the answers will get both me and Nigel in trouble. So we could use one of our powers. Now again, we don't have like a blood meter, so it's hard to be like, will this cost us anything? Certainly, if somebody gets their fingers into him, they will probably realize that he's been dominated, which means that he's into vampires. So some vampires talk to him. Could just advise him to escape. He did seem like he wanted to do that anyway, so we can just give him some cash. Maybe he'll run away. And that kind of keeps us clean. Secret societies. Once upon a time, it was me who relied on your common sense, not the other way around. Yeah, delusional. Your attempt at selling this crap only hurts your integrity. The real problem is Montgomery doesn't take kindly to people sniffing around her company. You don't know how dangerous she can be. Sniffed around Montgomery and you seemed fine to me. And I did. I had my life systematically destroyed. I had a psycho stalking me, got blacklisted in NYC. Tell me, when was the last time you read something from me? Gears in his head begin to turn. Sorry, I had a hunch something was off, but Brian couldn't help you? Brian was the person they told to stab me in the back. To his credit, he tried his best to look sad while doing it. Anything I can do to help. Worry about yourself. Trust me, when Double Spiral has you in their sights, that's your cue to take off the tinfoil hat and disappear. You need to vamoose. Do it quickly. I'm surprised he doesn't talk back. It seems like he's already reconciled himself to the idea of skipping town and was just waiting for the right trigger. Pack a light, cut ties, and just go. A shame. We only just reunited. There it is. I wondered when it would pop up, that lascivious look. I'm surprised it took this long. Give your uncle a goodbye kiss. We could feed on him. He's a pretty safe feed. They usually don't remember anything from during that time, though as far as we can tell, he is sober, so he might remember something. He'll at least probably remember meeting with us. But it's maybe better than going to this club looking for a rando. Especially if he's already going to be on his way out. I'm thinking maybe we just go for the feeding opportunity. Yeah, kiss, all right. The kiss. Yeah, I don't know why we necessarily need a dictionary entry for this one. Yeah, you. Recipients usually enjoy it almost as much as the bestowers, though not in the same way. For us, it's sustenance and take care of a deeply rooted need. Most people I drink from end up dazed but happy. Yep. Taste of caffeine is strong, almost covers with a little hint of something else. Ooh, crystal meth. Oh, buddy. Unkempt sleeper at the cemetery is not an uncommon sight. I might not think much of myself, but I'm sure as hell nobler than this. Alright, so we got to feed him, which is good. Again, we don't have a blood counter, so I don't know how the game works. I don't know if that we need to be concerned about how often we feed. Apparently we need to do it more often because we're using more VtM to pretend to be alive when we smoke cigarettes. Which is just like a habit, maybe just get rid of. I think we want to make... So, because we did that, we don't necessarily need to do... the Kiss Addict. So I'm thinking maybe we go with Samira. Clean cut staff member dressed in impeccable company uniform smiles at me at the elevator door opens. Meeting somebody? I dismiss his question with an apathetic shrug. He sizes me up for a brief moment, visibly questioning my fashion sense. Hey. This way, please. NYC's nouveau riche seem awfully hungry for gourmet soup at this late at night. Nutrition is packed almost to the brim. Concierge points me over to the last vacant table, immediately situated in the far off corner of the main hall. I'll nestle into the chair, letting my elbows rest on the ornate tablecloth. Watch out. Oblivious white collars. There's a black widow in your midst. Well, I'm here, might as well just kick back and die of boredom. I could call the concierge, but I mean, we can't really order drinks. Try to figure out why Samira asked you to come, but she's going to show up probably in the short. Well, we just, let's just have a smoke, look at the room. Everyone here seems so incredibly toffee-nosed. Man, I can't remember the last time I heard something described as toffee-nosed. Very funny. Airs and graces. Adorned hamster cage. Get kissed. Their butts kissed by overeager underlings. The fact I find it so pathetic is probably part of the reason why I never amounted to anything. They love you? Take another whiff. I notice a well-groomed staff member, the manager, I guess, gazing at me from behind his horn rim. Take another whiff. Maybe this is another one of those, like, across the pond differences. I would think take another puff. More American way to say it. Competent enough to keep up appearances, but I can tell he's on the warpath. Give him the cold shoulder. I turn my back on him in a gesture of blatant disregard. I'm hoping he won't misinterpret. Concierge gets busy. He glances at me briefly before hanging up. The concierge quickly closes in on me, dancing habitually between the tables, and addresses me before I can even utter a single word. Excuse me, ma'am, are you Miss Sawinski by chance? Hands me a carefully folded memo and leaves. Impeccably calligraphed. It reads, manager of this establishment insulted the Camaria's authority with his negligence. Even though it's minor, his transgression must be penalized. I would like you to assist me in this matter. Mira? What are you asking me to do here? Such a display of goodwill on your part would surely improve your standing with the higher-ups. Choose an appropriate, non-lethal punishment. S. So, the concierge brought you that note that's like, hey, brought this note to you. I need you to the manager. The guy's like, is this person supposed to do something terrible to my boss? Well, this is disappointing. It was a high order to expect any help with the investigation. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Instead, it's just another chore. Best thing to hope for is that it really is just a friendly request, not a deliberate attempt to derail my work on this early in the game. Alright. We have something to discuss. The VIP lounge now, if you please. Maybe it's dawned on him that I'm even paler than the other, more blue-blooded. He immediately becomes compliant as I escort him through a side door. The room isn't empty, but its guests are just leaving. Nobody pays any attention. The manager is as polite as he can be as he sees the patrons out. I can see he's clearly losing his shit. Quietly asks one of his staff to give him 5 minutes in the lounge and gingerly closes the doors behind him. Then the pleading starts. And I know I screwed up. Shouldn't have let him in. How would I know he's not one of the proper clients? I would never implore you. I have children, for Christ's sake. There must be something in the arrangement, a way to... He just goes off as if I'm not even here. Each subsequent whimper, he becomes more and more irritating. I'll light up the last cigarette in the pack and take a slow puff, trying to compose myself. I have no use for your explanations and justifications. I don't know what sort of transgressions you committed. You never let this censoric guy in. Truth be told, I don't give a shit. It will never happen again. I swear on my mother's grave. Just not that good of a judge of character, but him pleading with his arms out really makes him look like the biblical wayward son, swearing to change his ways. Alright, well, I'm supposed to do something non-violent, or not non-violent, non-lethal. So, I don't know if lash out... I don't know what that entails exactly. I think we should do more than let him off with a warning. Brand him is very... specific. It might be kind of above my station, honestly. So, I guess maybe lash out. That could be wild. I don't know what it's going to do, though. Grab him by the back of his head, smash it down on the bar, then throw him on the small but stout coffee table nearby. Pick out a soup ladle from the fancy kettle it's served in. Just smack the guy around for a bit. All he can do after a while is whimper softly. If there's ever a good time to say job's done, it's now. I take off. Probably too hard on him. Garen warned me that something in our bloodline finds sniveling wigglings detestable. Combined with his previous attitude, that could have been just what triggered me. Alright, so we got a little rough. We did some feeding, got a little rough with the guy. Starting to embrace our vampirism a little bit, our monsters of the night. Conundrum for another occasion. I did what I was asked, and I'm sure as hell wasted enough time here. I should move on. About time I had to here. We're probably not going to get the third option. Okay. We already got the feeding done. Angelo, Hope, Mika, Akala. Better than nothing, but no evidence, really. Felt as if someone had already cleaned up the most egregious stuff before I arrived. Sounds like the Anarchs. Definitely try and check that place again, but I feel I'd need some sort of expert to accompany, an advanced investigator who could show me the ropes. Someone tall and handsome, maybe? Yeah, if you don't mind a diplomatic incident, I'll go with you. Any better ideas? Actually, this very note gave me one, but I will need to set it up first. I will get back to you about that. You know these people? I've had passing contact with each of them, part and parcel of the job, you know. I suppose, can you help me out with this? The way I tackle it would be, look at one person on the list every night and ask around about them and see what they know if you do manage to meet them. If I manage to meet them. They're not particularly easy to get a hold of, always preferred to be a little off the grid. But nowadays, they're all practically in hiding, if not MIA or dead. Funny coincidence? Not my job to speculate. You know something I was not at liberty to say. Guess I'll find out anyway if I do meet them. And why one night each? Shouldn't I investigate every loose thread until we're satisfied? In a perfect world, you'd have all the time you need. Are we in a time crunch? But this is not a perfect world. They'll try to brute force a solution to the case as soon as possible. So even more reason as to why to spend more time on the periphery. I suspect 4 nights from now, once the celebrations of power are over, they'll ask you for your findings, and that will be all. To be brutally honest, my focus wouldn't be on solving the murder. Instead, I'd focus on not embarrassing yourself. Okay, I think thus far we've done a pretty okay job of that. That's part of why I didn't want to get you involved. Well, then why did you bring me to the party? You dum-dum. You can possibly think Arturo had you involved out of the goodness of the start. The entirety of your investigation is just for show. You were meant to be an unwitting actor. If it wasn't for the loyalty I feel towards Kadir, Samira, and my sire, God knows the memory of my embrace still holds too much sway on me, I'd have plotted a vendetta against these assholes long ago. Let's be frank, even if I thought that lying to Mia about being sympathetic to the New York City anarchs yesterday could benefit me, I still probably wouldn't do it. It would feel like betrayal. Well, we're loyal to the end. That is our trait. There's something about the Camaria's ideals that still ring true to me. A belief in individual excellence and nobility, or the way time-tested traditions can ground us in the terrifying new. Yeah, I mean, it seems to have worked for a while. Not like vampires are new. And, you know, they seem to still be rocking and rolling pretty well and still have a lot of things under their control. Being on the receiving end of this shitty neo-feudal structure and seeing firsthand how the elites always play by their own rules regardless, can't help but think there must be something better out there. Kind of Camarilla that would actually deserve slavish loyalty from kindred like Kadir. Any for your thoughts? Take a drag from my cigarette. I must have gotten more smokes on the way over. That's just the Camarilla, no? After the last few months of hazing, I didn't expect a random act of kindness. The kind of bullshit is, well, just how the Camarilla works, isn't it? More often than it's necessary, I'd say, but this time it's a risky play. In my experience, if one simply displays some cunning, they can unexpectedly turn a situation like this to their advantage. Okay? So think of it less as a duty and more of an opportunity. We can do that. I like it. The court. Part of the court assumes that you're unable to surprise them in this regard, but if you do, by the end of the investigation, you might as well pull yourself out of the ditch you're in. Because again, we're not even starting at the base level. We're like deep in our own hole. It'd be a night to remember, so where should I go first? Should go with me, as it happens. I'm only out here because I was ordered to drive Aisling to the art hole. Alright. And guess the name of her protege. So that's who Agathon is. Or was. Nobody knows. It's a complicated thing. You'll see. I'm on the clock, so let's get a move on. Work your magic, fairy godmother. Still not done with this bit? Now, while it still bothers you. As I already told Kadir, and numerous times at that, I have no idea what happened with Agathon. Broadway Chantry, part of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, is Aisling's usual hangout these past few nights. She's in a hurry and not willing to talk. You have any idea about connections to the kindred going by the names of Tamika, D'Angelo, or Hope? I don't. Relationship is strictly professional, never meddled in personal affairs, unless they influence our work, that is. But it only happened one time. Ah yes, the infamous case. Were there any signs he's leaving? Makes his disappearance suspicious? Nothing. Rude of him not to give me a proper warning before departing, so the line of work it's not particularly favored by folks with a perfect grasp of savoir vivre. Well, savoir vivre. I do hope this search will bring him back right where he started, begging me to take him back in. The boy is talented, and I did put a lot of time in mentoring. If he doesn't, well, que sera sera. No skin off my back. He won't even entertain a possibility he found himself in harm's way. The researcher's mindset, she doesn't think it's worth considering the worst case scenario seriously and just takes things as they come. Okay. Very thought. I'd like to search the chantry for Agathon's whereabouts. Our good sheriff already did that long ago. You'd just be wasting your time, and ours for that matter. Didn't you say Helene was waiting for us, Kadir? Give the girl 15 minutes. Minimal support for an ongoing investigation. Besides, she has a proclivity for finding things everyone else has overlooked. 10 minutes, and if you attempt to pass this door or that one up there, I can't guarantee you'll walk out of here alive. Thank you very much, High Regent. Get on with it. Woo! The moon. My time here is practically up and I found nothing of use. Nice. Agathon is completely dedicated to his work. Even his personal quarters are as barren as it gets. No personal touch whatsoever. Nothing here could go by. It's all research, research, research. He seems like such a bore. What would you do if you were a warlock workaholic? Where would you leave clues to your whereabouts? What would you do if you found yourself in mortal danger or wanted to go to know? Loose. I approached the place where I saw the shadowy silhouette appear. It's a brick wall, and one of the bricks is loose. Agathon's diary. So we take the diary with us. It did look like Agathon left it so that someone in the chantry could find it, presumably the High Regent. But my investigation takes priority for now. Okay, so we're not going to share that we found it. Interesting move that I don't get a choice in making, but alright. And this is... What is this place? I'm looking at. It kind of looks like a retirement home. But certainly wouldn't be because it's got stairs in it. He's been working under the High Regent for 15 years. Wow, quite a bit. Underlying shame in the way he talks about Tremere magic. He always describes himself as too slow on the uptake, too late to learn something, too much of an amateur. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Entries beginning in 2012 are terrifyingly regular. Neat handwriting. Author's dedication to his studies is palpable. He has 3 women he holds dear. His master, Ashley, he reveres. Nothing about their secretive work. A good pupil serving a good mentor. I'm jealous. Do we not think that Kadir's a good mentor? Second is another warlock, ex-lover, Juno. feels guilty about. They had a conflict in which Ashley was involved. Choose between the two, he chose Ashley. Okay, so that was the Juno incident. According to Agathon, there was never real love between him and Juno. First it was just shared interest, then a growing disconnect, and ultimately guilt, which made him responsible for her. Strikes me as the kind of person who spends most of his time inside his head. Doesn't sound like someone you could have a fulfilling romance with. Interesting. I mean, yeah, Dakota. Agathon's mortal grandmother, Sylvia. She's the light of his life, the person who took care of him after his parents died in a ritual murder. Not quite what I expected. Me either. Oh, the family used to serve a vampire in Mexico City. Retribution for their escape. Here's the lead Tremere used to track him down, actually. He was keeping her alive for a long time, but a few months ago her heart gave up. Agathon blamed his insufficient skills, the kind of man who carries the entire world. Ooh, is it... This guy just disappeared. Did he maybe make his grandma a vampire? Because you can't do that without getting a lot of people to say that's okay. Well, again, I mean, primarily, I guess, the prince and your sire. It doesn't sound like Sylvia's death was the only thing that triggered this depression spiral. Incident back in 2019, he doesn't cite specifics. It's all vague mentions of a person who made him fly too close to the sun. Whatever happened, it has the same effect as his grandma's death. New York stopped feeling like a home to him and became alien, empty, grotesque. His words. There's a recent photograph of him glued to the inner side of the cover. He's facing away from the camera, only showing his profile and striking a rather dramatic pose. Looks poserish to me. However, upon closer inspection, it seems like a goodbye photo. The final melancholic glance he throws in your direction before disappearing for good. Hang on. I wonder if there's something about the place he's photographed in that's important. A single black feather, no idea what it means. Something's written next to the photograph with a lot of flourish. It looks like a poem. More than annoyed, sad. More than sad, unhappy. More than unhappy, suffering. More than suffering, abandoned. More than abandoned, alone in the world. More than alone, exiled. More than exiled, dead. More than dead, gotten. The Sedative, 1917, by Marie Lorison. Looks like he wrote it down recently. It might have resonated with his emotional state over the past few months. Seems to confirm his intent with this diary to me. General idea seems to be his research will outlive him, so he doesn't even detail it. Still, he wanted some kind of tangible memory of who he was left for posterity. Yeah, but he's been doing this for... How old is this diary? Does it have entries that go back for like 15 years? Didn't say it started in like 2012 or something like that? That's not all. There's still a mystery to be solved. Quite a few of the pages towards the end are missing. Doesn't look like they were necessarily removed to redact information. They were torn in a way which makes it clear the paper wasn't ever used. What's more, the preceding pages are empty as well. To be that, that's when it happens again. I notice a bizarre shape in my peripheral vision. Bleed. I turn to catch a glimpse as fast as possible, but it's already gone. If my heart could beat faster right now, it would jump out. Okie dokies. It's comforting. I've been seeing these apparitions ever since I turned into this. Here. The worst part is I feel they were always there, even as a mortal. They were sometimes in the corner of my eye, disappearing when I tried to look directly at them, making me think just my mind playing tricks on me. When you're part of the Night Clan, there are times they don't disappear. There are times they talk. There are times they try to force you to do their bidding. And worst of all, no, I don't want to think about it. But not consciously malevolent. This one in particular was trying to help. Open the book on the first empty page and look around to make sure nobody is staring. Then I cut myself using a razor I keep in my pocket just in case. Of what? Getting attacked, maybe? It's not a deep slice, I just want to let a droplet of vitae fall on the paper, on the page. That's when the letters appear. Look at me, a... tragic? Tragic? Tragic clown? No longer confident that any of my people can be trusted, I turn to a... Ooh. With, just a sousance of racism. Delightful. Maria won at that. What are you whining for, boy? Laugh at me. Ridicule is all I deserve. Don't just stand there like an idiot. You want to say something, say it. Diary's haunted. Here's a quick changing sentences and images composed of shadows or blood. Give me a window into another reality. It's not an objective view. It's like scattered remnants of emotion, similar to a half-remembered dream. Full of holes, but an honest expression of one's mind. Might it be interacting with me, or it's just a hypothesis? But I don't know why it would show me Callahan. And was that Ellis Island? Right. So I'm not even looking in its direction. The voice makes me feel oddly confident about what I need to do. I pick up the feather that was in the diary and dip it in my vitae. Then I write down passion, confusion. Contempt is really the thing that they were kind of going for, right? Filled out your ideals long ago, old man. You're a shithead, a coward, a bigot, a failed leader hated by everyone serving you. Of course I have nothing but contempt for you. Good. Finally some honesty. Now we can talk to each other like you. I just feel like this is the way these events took place. It's more like a way to explore Agathon's emotional truth about the way it all unfolded. Some shade of the truth is better than nothing. Handy tool, and if I use it right, I might find some clues that could aid me in my investigation. There are a few thoughts floating around in my head, like alien entities trying to make their way out. Is that also an effect of the diary's power? Let's try... Death, destiny, or dream? Keep saying it's very dream-like kind of state, so that kind of makes me think dream, but he was worried about death, and he's missing. The other guy's dead, presumably. What death? Fears something. Callahan fears something worse than death. Heard about their plot. Yes, I wasn't afraid it would fail and leave me for final death. I was afraid it would succeed. So his final death is presumably, if he is the dead body that we found, presumably a failure, not a success of something. Maybe we go with Ellis Island? Why'd you pick this place to meet anyways? It's secluded, and there's something in the air here that makes all the blood magic go haywire, which is especially important. Because of me, you're still afraid I might be part of the experiment. No, because of that devil woman. Blood runs cold. Look, if this is a very fancy game, we literally did have a woman who was dressed up as the devil just earlier in this playthrough. So, you'd be afraid of Aisling. Maybe. All the scribblings disappear and another set starts taking their place. There he conjures an image of a completely different place. I instantly get a feeling of deja vu. Oh, yeah, we were just there. I process the space differently, the atmosphere is different, more familiar, homely. This is unmistakably the Tremere Chantry I visited earlier tonight. Sitting there is just the person I'd expect. Actually in a very different outfit. Like that's it for my meeting with Callahan. The person he was talking about in the listing a strong emotional reaction from was Aisling. Could be. Diary awaits my next command. Who, what, when, where, or why? Those are all great questions. Can we trust any of the answers we get out of this book? We already know it's straight up to us that it's not objective truth. Maybe when. We don't know why this timing was chosen. That's a big question because it's clearly not a coincidence. Why? There's a couple different reasons why. We thought that this would have something to do with this was like a power play, but now it seems like it's an experiment maybe gone wrong that's happened. Some sort of disagreement. If we believe things that were in the book, then Boss Callahan's final death is a failure rather than a success of a plot. Who? Well, we already know some parties are in there. We don't want to get in a situation where we learn duplicate information. So I'm kind of like when. I'm hoping that when will give us more the why, because if we get the why but we don't know who it goes to, that's kind of a, or the how. So let's go for when. High Regent, when. It shouldn't surprise you these arrangements were already in place back when you started working for me. Proof was all around you all the time. You were just choosing not to look at it. Don't act like you aren't complicit, Agathon. I don't feel comfortable being a part of this at all. I always thought we were busy with science, not politics. These are the words of a child, Agathon. Science has always relied on politics, and politics on science. That last one, not always so much. Not like this, High Regent. Don't embarrass me again, Agathon. Not like this. We're just bleeding all over this book. Another familiar face. Arturo. Talk to Arturo. Fuck you, go to hell, you goddamn rat. I beg your pardon. The harpy vanishes. Yeah, right. I could gather courage to say this to your face. The least I can do is try and stab you in the back. Put a little bit more vitae on the page, but it no longer works. Alright, so that's what we got for that. Well, it definitely gave us a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And we can put some push pins on the board, though, of our conspiracy board and get our red yarn out. Red string and try to tie all this together. Or red string of destiny. Is Agathon alive or dead? I don't know. I kind of assume he's alive until we're proven otherwise. I've been a glass half empty buzzkill too often. Brace for the worst but hope for the best. That he left his diary for someone to carry on his work, since he strategically left it inside it. He's got this all planned out, no doubt about it. I choose to believe I will see him again one night. Maybe I'll even compliment that jacket he has. Glass half full. Okay, so now we're an optimist. I don't even know if that's optimism. It's just like we literally have no evidence to say that he is dead. Other than he talked to people. In any case, I think it's time to pay a visit to the art hole. I know Arturo tends to leave the Elysium quite often to take in some fresh air and message people on his Blackberry, so I just waited until I see him. Blackberry? The year of our Lord? 2020? Incredible. The tactic works, he's surprised to see me. Ms. Sawinski, shouldn't you be busy with your investigation? I am. I'm to see you. That's peculiar, because I'm absolutely sure I have nothing to do with this case. Aren't you barking up the wrong tree? Well, I'm here to find out. I assume you wanted to see I'm thorough. His expression changes imperceptibly, yet we perceive it. But the difference is palpable. The first time he looks at me as a person. Up until now, I was just an amusing diversion. Now I'm something more, and he doesn't like it. What gave you this idea? Not at liberty to say. If you really want to know, ask the sheriff. Of course, Kadir doesn't know anything, but he's the only one in the court that Arturo has repeatedly failed to influence. I think twice before approaching him. I fail to see how this matter relates to the task at hand. I have every reason to think Baron Callahan was involved, and that he might have grounds to fear for his life because of said scheme. He's tense now. Do I have the upper hand? Miss Sawinski, please answer the question. The matter you are speaking of has absolutely nothing to do with Baron Callahan's grim fate. It's a strictly confidential affair. It'd be wise of you to stop pursuing it. Wise of you to fuck off. Can't be an investigator if I'm not allowed to properly investigate. Matters unrelated to your work and should be treated as such. I'm 100% convinced Prince Panard would agree. Maybe. Hey, you move your rook, he moves his bishop, etc., etc. Upping the ante. Certainly want you to present the basis for your discovery to the court. Could you handle it? Maybe. So obviously we're not going to give a good. I think we shouldn't go with maybe, because I think if we say maybe, we clue him in that we have tangible evidence, like we have something material. Maybe just give no response. God damn it! This is his revenge for invoking Kadir, isn't it? I thought so. Is the high region inside? She is, but don't worry. I'll make sure to tell her not to waste your precious time. Okay. Strategic retreat is my only choice here. I don't have a full deck of cards yet, but if just you wait in a few nights, take my leave then. Focus on the investigation avenues that aren't utterly imbecilic and suicidal to pursue, miss. I bid you. Rude? Rude. I really hate that it's called the art hole. I guess this avenue really is cut off for me, at least for 3 names left on the list. I still have some leads to go on, but for now, getting late. I should go to St. Patrick's and file my latest report. Father Leonard's there. He's not exactly the most punctual person, so I always feel relieved to see far. Any move in and move out before I'm noticed by Benoit. Will this be all? I guess so. I rattled off most of the in a hurry on the way here. I'll have a more exhaustive report tomorrow night. Busy. That way, Father. Our wayward girl has finally been recognized by her superior. Even you heard about that. I guess that means every single kindred in the 5 boroughs knows. I know you're an expert when it comes to knowing who's saying what and where. Not so much once we became a vampire. The last time we met, you promised to share that knowledge with me. Yeah, it's kind of lying. Don't involve me in your silly games. The way you fall for obvious lies stems from your biggest failing in communication, and that is, only pay attention to the what that's being said and not the how. We're gonna throw up a booyah. Suck it, annihilate it with an absolute flawless diagnosis. That clown. You're in a strange mood tonight, child. Go get some sleep. Yes, we'll continue this tomorrow. Hello, Benoit. He says my name in a sickly sweet way that gives me the creeps. I bow to Father Leonard to do my best to ignore Benoit and head for Dakota's place. Finally, my haven. The girl has to hide from the sun somewhere, right? It tends to be at Dakota's place for me lately. Nobody's likely to randomly stumble upon me when I sleep there. Your hearth, your home, where presumably you are safe, as the name Haven kind of entails. Another tough night. Drink, she points to her neck. I managed to summon a faint smile. How spotty our memories are, and how despite that, that's what we build our convictions on. So banal. I'm just tired and frustrated. You remember about the time we first met? Yeah. Not a lot, actually. Those were gloomy, anxious days. We could subconsciously replace most of them with blank spaces. First talked about the house. Nobody ever knows what you mean by house. Ah, that show with the asshole director. No, the Japanese haunted house horror film that feels like it was written by a 7-year-old with ADHD. In the best way. In the best way, duh. Okay, so it was house. Kung Fu, you're prof. You're dressed up like a total nerd, not my fault. What was the deal with that suit? I liked that suit. I remember helping you out with graphic design whenever you needed it. Funny, I remember you needing help with writing as something that seemed to happen far more often. At least we both agree this bedroom feels super comfy. Yeah, but it felt weird how much they avoided me, and there was that one time with Isabella. After midnight in that kitchen without context, she just walked up to me and will isolate you, she will suck you dry, and she'll move on to the next target. That's the only thing she knows. Ugh, don't remind me of Isabella, she's always resented me. The irony of that statement's very funny. Of Dakota being somebody who uses somebody and being a vampire who can literally suck her dry. So long, it's all baseless conjecture now, but what if she really did isolate me on purpose? Nah, the glass is half full. The past is Schrodinger's cat and all that. Oh no, our trade is kicked us in the butt already. No, Dakota's not a great person. This is not a healthy relationship by any stretch, by any means. And neither of us are adding a lot of positives into the glass there. It's mostly negatives from both sides. Better to leave in the positive version of it. Oh no, our half glass full thing. I didn't know it was going to become a trait when I chose it. I just thought we don't know the guy's dead yet. So let's just assume he's alive and walking around. If you don't believe they're on your side, you'll know one way or the other, and then it's 100% certain they won't be on your side. Maybe optimism really is the way. You're working remotely again. Yeah, my office is going insane for so many reasons, and I'm getting cabin fever. Get some sun, it'll be good for you. Look who's talking. Good night, sunshine. Good night. And I think that's where we're gonna leave it. I think that's a good breaking point for us. We'll break it out there. Let me go ahead and there we go. Yeah, I think that's a good place to go ahead and break out. I think we did a good chunk of the game. And now we're at least into the game proper. We can go ahead and there we go. Now we're into the game proper, which is nice. Nice change. The first one was a lot of setup, meeting a lot of the NPCs, kind of meeting the cast and crew of who we're going to be bouncing around with. And now we finally know what we're supposed to do in the game, which is nice. We got our what is primarily our quest, I assume. Probably going to be most of this. Trying to figure out what the heck's going on. So yeah, it's interesting. Be interested to see how it goes out and see how the trait system works. And we've already seen it bite us in the butt once, but who knows what it's going to do in the future. But hey, that's going to be it for this stream. If you like this, make sure to follow and subscribe. And check out the VOD later, the VOD, if you haven't caught this late and need to see the whole thing. Or if you want to go see the first part 1, you can jump over to YouTube and check it out over there. This one, the first one's over on Fiendish Sundries, I believe. You can go check it out there if you want to watch the first playthrough. You don't necessarily have to, I don't think. It's a lot of... It feels like the introduction, the introduction for this, or setup for this game is actually pretty long, longer than I was expecting for the type of game that it is. But it is what it is. We'll do this again at some point. I don't know. These aren't really scheduled at this point, so it's just kind of whenever I get around to it or have free time and have the energy to do it. And we missed our usual stream over on Saturday because I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't have the bandwidth to do the sort of like long, complicated one I wanted to do, and then as it got later on in the day, I felt like I still didn't have the energy. So we'll pick it up whenever we pick it up. Hopefully this Saturday. Hopefully things will be more in order this time, and I'll be feeling a little bit more energized. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye.